All right, I think it is working. Going live is always weird to me because I am the person that's a perfectionist and I want to have all my ducks in a row. And no matter how many ducks you try to get in a row on a live stream, you cannot get them all in a row. So I wanted to bring up a couple comments, and I had some fabulous slides set up to show you and was trying to use OBS and I could not make it work. So forget it. I'm just going to do it the hard way. On the previous video regarding adapting Dune, a couple people made comments that I thought were particularly helpful, and two people in particular commented on something that I regretted not including in the video. So, and I'm unfortunately not going to be able to show you those as I was going to in OBS because I can't figure out how to do it. But let me read them to you right now. The first commenter that brought this up was Pontilus Lil Jablad. Sorry. And he or she or it said that I should consider this anime as a medium which actually incorporates inner voices and thoughts effortlessly. And it does it a lot. Nice video, though. Liked. And when I saw that comment, I realized, yes, that's true. Now, I'm not a huge anime aficionado, but I have watched Full Metal Alchemist, the original series, and then watched Brotherhood when that came out. By the way, for anybody that's wondering, don't watch the original, just watch Brotherhood. That's everything you need. But um, that series is a great example of inner monologues constantly being said out loud. And you've got the actor, or not the actor, but the drawn character, striking a pose, real thoughtful pose. He's just sitting there like this, and the camera's slowly panning, and the wheat in the field is moving to the wind, and he's expostulating some mental thing. He's, oh, I wish I had never done that to, tried to bring my mother back from the dead, and ba 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 ba. But it doesn't take you out of the story. It's gripping. It's still interesting, and I think honestly, it's because it's animated. I could be wrong. I just think that animation can get away with a lot of things that live action can't. So, take another example. When you see an animated character jump 50 feet in the air, "Wah!" Come down with his sword or whatever, you're just like, yeah, that's cool. You don't think that's ridiculous. Nobody can jump 50 feet in the air. And animation has the ability to just say, We're not in your reality. We're in a reality. This is a reality, but it's not yours. And so don't be surprised when characters do bizarre and outlandish things. And so internal monologues, I think, function the same way, where it's an animated. So we go with it. I mean, I'd go with it. I watched all of Full Metal Alchemist, both of them, and have never took me out of the story to hear them or to see them, sitting there silently, the camera slowly panning by, and them having this conversation in their head. Sometimes even multiple characters, in the same scene. And it's just it works. It works great. It does not destroy the drama. So that was the first comment that came up, and then Lauren next actually made a similar comment. Just said, "So what you were telling me is that an anime could make a perfect book adaptation." And Lauren, next, if we're talking about Dune, I think you're onto something. I think there should be a Dune anime, and that would probably be way more interesting. Not to mention that, again, when you do an animation of something, you can have such a diverse cast. I'm thinking now of Howl's Moving Castle. It's not weird that there are people in that alongside talking frogs, alongside No Face, alongside all of these different body types. It just fits. And because they're all drawn, they all seem to go together in the same world. It all makes sense. It does not throw you off. You just go with it, right? But as soon as you do something live action, you are now constrained to what the human form can do and how good CGI can mask over that to do something bizarre. And it can't push very far before it draws a lot of attention to itself. And I know CGI is amazing nowadays, but again, to combine real people with sort of bizarre things, it's harder to do than if you animate it. You can have completely bizarre things standing side by side, and you as the audience buy it without any issue. Okay, going on, the Kegi had a little bit of a longer comment. I'm going to kind of cut to the end. He said, and I realize I'm jumping in the middle, so it's going to seem out of context, but you'll understand when I read it. He said, another example of this, which maybe you could cover, is Stanley Kubrick adapting Stephen King's The Shining and essentially reconstructing it wholly a Kubrick film rather than once that it was that then okay, so basically saying, Kubrick made it into a Kubrick film, The Shining. It's a Stephen King novel, but by the time Kubrick's done with it, it's Kubrick. And the Kegi commented on this too. I don't know if this is real or not. I do know, I believe it's true that Stephen King did not like Stanley Kubrick's version. It's hard for me to know if that's just lore or if that's real, but I've heard it reported from a lot of different sources, and that King did make his own adaptation or was maybe highly involved in the television miniseries version, which I haven't watched. My understanding it was terrible. So take that for what it's worth. I don't have all the knowledge on all of this, but having seen Kubrick's version, it's pretty clear to me that's a Kubrick film. I mean, that's very clearly has the thumbprint of Kubrick, and some people seem to take my video as saying that that would be bad, that Kubrick taking The Shining and making it Kubrick would be bad. When actually what I'm saying is that's good. That is good. It's not The Shining, the novel, but it is he made a film that is really a classic horror film. I mean, I understand not everybody loves horror, and I have some qualms with it myself, but it is an effective story. It is disturbing intentionally and well made to disturb you. So Kubrick did a fantastic job making a fantastic movie, kind of by ignoring the source material, apparently. Again, I haven't read the book, I haven't seen Stephen King's miniseries version, but apparently Kubrick does his own thing and he does a fantastic job. And that's not the only example I was thinking, and I've got just I don't have any fun screenshots, but I have this movie sitting here on my desk from our local library, The Secret of Nim. And this goes back a little bit, but Don Bluth animation based on a book. And the book is called Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. So what's interesting is this is another example where people in the video, or people that commented on my last video, seem to think I was saying that Don Bluth changing the Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim into something different was bad, when actually I think it's good. I think I mean, if you haven't seen the movie, it's amazing. It's a really fantastic animated feature film, but he adds fantasy magic elements that are nowhere in the book. They do not exist. They are not in the book. And he adds them in, and it's really good. It's really fun and has that great kind of dark, gritty, older style animation. When you could scare a kid in a movie, we can't do that anymore. Kids, they got to have pillows strapped to them at all times in case they fall down. But, uh, anyways, uh, I love The Secret of Nim, and I love Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, which I've read multiple times and read to my own children. And so they're both good. They're both different. One leans in to the power of a visual medium, The Secret of Nim. The other leans into the power of a written narrative. Now, I don't know if Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim is unadaptable in the way that I said Dune is, and I still think it is. But I'm saying that they both do well being their own thing. And now I want to go to the other end. I don't have a screenshot, but if anyone has seen the Harrison Ford adaptation of Ender's Game, this is an example of a different kind of problem. It's faithful. It's a faithful adaptation of the book, but it's absolute garbage. And it's garbage because it basically feels like a Cliff's Notes of Ender's Game. All of the emotion, and I understand Harrison Ford may not have been a real great casting decision, and I think they aged the kids up more than I would like them to have done and all that. But the point is, it is a faithful adaptation of the story, and it's boring. It's lame. It is not a good movie. It is not enjoyable to watch. And for people like me who read Ender's Game when you were young enough for it to really strike home, that movie was bad. And it wasn't bad because it was unfaithful. It was bad because it was a lame movie. They would have done better to have carved up the book more and just sort of done their own thing rather than be so faithful that it was a dull movie. Great book, dull movie, unfortunately. So it's not an issue of, oh, it has to be absolutely faithful to what the book was, or it's a crappy movie. No, not at all. In fact, sometimes it is a better movie for being unfaithful to the book. I think that's all I've got. Thanks so much for watching.